by way of demonstration here, I'd like to have us go through a little exercise, if you will, and we're going to learn how to stop our thinking. So let's sit comfortably first, and then allow your eyes to close. Just go ahead and let your eyes close and pay attention to what you're thinking. Okay, your thoughts are going on anyhow. Just watch your thoughts for a while. I don't want you to help me. I don't want you to start thinking happy thoughts or create white light or change energy. Just simply watch your thinking. Good, you're doing very good. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'm going to have you ask yourself a question internally. Just think this question. And as soon as you ask yourself this question, I want you to stop and wait to see what happens. Okay? Good. All right. Now you're watching your thoughts. Now ask yourself this question. Where will my next thought come from? Okay? Open your eyes. Now, as soon as you ask the question, where will my next thought come from? Did you notice something like a gap, a little stop in your thinking there? Most of you will have. Some of you may not have. That's okay. We're going to take care of that in a second. All right? There was a little break in your thinking. Sort of a gap where nothing was going on. Not to worry about that if it didn't happen, because we're going to close our eyes in just a second and do this again. And I'm going to have you do this for a minute or two, where I'll have you ask yourself different questions. But here is the trick. When you ask the question, at that time, wait to see what happens. Okay? All right, good. Let's close our eyes again. Just go ahead and let your eyes close. And become aware of your thinking. Very good. Whatever you're thinking, just watch it. Now ask yourself this question. How long before my next thought appears? And ask yourself this question. What is the color of my next thought? And ask yourself, what will my next thought smell like? And ask yourself, where will my next thought come from? And ask yourself, what will my next thought taste like? And now ask, what will my next thought feel like? And ask, what will be the shape of my next thought? Now ask yourself, what Okay, now just quietly open your eyes and let's talk a little more. All right, during that time, there was a little gap between the thought, the question, where will my next thought come from, or whatever the question we asked, and the thought starting up again. There was that little space, right? In that space, what was there? Tell me, what was in that space? Well, you say nothing, of course. Nothing was there. So what's that tell us? What's that experience? Nothing was there. That means there was no thought, no emotion, right? So those of you who think that you are your thoughts and your emotions and that's what you really are, that all just left. And obviously you were still there, weren't you? You didn't go into a coma. You were still awake, still aware, but you were aware of nothing, right? A little gap, nothing. What does that tell us? Well, first of all, if you've ever been told that it takes years of arduous study to clear your mind of thought, you just proved otherwise. In just 10-15 seconds, you stopped your thinking. But that by itself doesn't have a great deal of value. We can learn a lot from the experience. We said there was nothing there, but let's look at that a little bit more. Let's think about that. In that space, it's true, there was no thing. There was no thought, there was no form of anything, no feeling, no energy swirling. You were just there, purely alone. And yet, you didn't disappear, you were still aware. So what could we say about that spot, that little gap there? Well, if you still exist, there was nothing going on except awareness was there, then I must be awareness. And in fact, awareness is the foundation